The fourth student to die on campus in 4 years.
How Fargo is preparing for flooding with 1 million sandbags.
And see what NDSU students' best April Fool's pranks are.
You're watching Bison Information Network News. An unfortunate incident at NDSU this week as a student was found deceased in a dorm room in Churchill Hall. On Monday morning, a campus-wide email was sent out releasing the information that the incident had occurred. The email from Laura Oster-Alland, Vice Provost for Student Affairs, stated that no foul play was suspected and that there is no public safety threat. Campus police could not be reached for comment at this time.
The Sandbag Central project is still ongoing in preparation of future possible flooding. The first of 2 flood prep phases is reaching the goal of 1 million sandbags. 200 volunteers a day are needed to reach the goal. Since Tuesday, volunteers have filled up to 200,000 sandbags. Many are volunteering, 20 to 30% being first-timers ranging from young to older residents. And with that being said, there's a job for everyone. Machines, which volunteers call spiders, can produce 1,000 sandbags a day with the right amount of help. There are 12 spouts that spit sand into each bag where volunteers tie and sort for storage until phase 2 starts, which is placing the sandbags into the potential flood risk areas. These spiders are used when there are enough volunteers to keep the pace of sand going, but when there are smaller amounts of help, plenty of people join the assembly line where sand is shoveled and bagged by hand.
System going where you get one person's shoveling, one person's holding the bag, the other person's twisting and tying them, then you got one person stacking. So you can get 4 or 5 people, it usually goes by a lot faster.
Sandbag Central is open to the public weekdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. until Friday, April 5th. Upon arrival, make sure to provide a photo ID, fill out the waiver, and someone will put you to work. For more information, you can volunteer at www.fargond.gov/floodvolunteers or by calling 701-476-4000.
Election season rolls on here at NDSU with candidates competing in the presidential debate on Tuesday. The teams of Cole Nichols and Ivan Wagner and Mason Rademacher and Joseph Vollmer faced off in the Thundar's Den to publicly respond to questions and present their platforms. While the event was much more of a press conference than a true debate, it still gave students the chance to see the candidates side by side, listen to their plans, and get a sense of voice from the teams. Part of Cole Nichols and Ivan Wagner's platform aims to further the connectivity between students and alumni, while Mason Rademacher and Joseph Vollmer share a desire to create a lasting impact on the relationship between student government and other student organizations.
What we want to do is arrange for seminars to ensure for student organizational success. Joe and I firmly believe that student government should do everything in their power to be that leading body and that leading organization across campus.
Also cultivate relationships with alumni. Students benefit so greatly from alumni. Alumni love to give to the university, but oftentimes they don't see the direct impact that they have on students during entry-level courses.
Stay tuned for our second Meet the Candidates spotlight later on in the newscast.
NDSU hosted its 9th annual Battle of the Senses fundraising kickoff last Sunday. Ambassadors from the College of Engineering compete against ambassadors from the College of Health Professions. All proceeds went to this year's recipient L.J. Wells, an 18-year-old from Granville, North Dakota, who has adrenal cortical cancer. The event was held in the Plains Room on the upper level of the Union. Attendees had the chance to eat snacks, play games, chat with peers from their college, and also get a chance to meet L.J. The kickoff started a week-long donation event where students can be seen at the Union and around campus asking for spare change. This is a great way to get students involved in a good cause while also partaking in friendly competition.
And now we'll go to Heather Viker with our weekend weather update. Heather?
Thanks, guys. It's actually going to start warming up slowly but surely this week. But first, let's take a look at the conditions right now. It's currently 34 degrees and sunny. Temps are going to creep down to about 23 tonight, and tomorrow we can look forward to a high of about 41 degrees. As for the rest of the week, highs in the upper 30s to mid 40s with Friday at 41, low of 16, Saturday 32 and 21. Sunday is going to be a little warmer, 41 and 22, but it's going to be cloudy most of the day. The rest of the week is going to be the lower 40s to mid 30s, cutting out the week at 37 with a high and 22 at the low. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up, student Republicans and Democrats come together to talk about guns, weed, and health care.
And we sit down with another student body presidential candidate.
When we come back. Last Friday, the three political science clubs gathered together to debate some of the most charged topics in America right now. Guns, Weed, and Healthcare was an event put on by the NDSU Political Science Student Association, which gave all three parties a chance to voice their opinions. The three clubs that were represented were the College Democrats, the College Republicans, and the Young Americans for Liberty. The debate was a question and answer format, with one moderator asking each of the clubs how their party feels on each issue. At the end of the debate, the floor was opened up to attendees to ask their own personal questions to each party.
The NDSU Volunteer Network will be presenting Bison Service Challenge Awards today at the Bison Leadership Awards ceremony. The Volunteer Network helps individuals and groups find services and connect local nonprofits to those with similar interests. During the 2017-18 academic year, NDSU students recorded over 8,000 hours of service, which resulted in saving the community almost $200,000. The event will take place in the Memorial Union Great Room at 7 p.m. and will last until 9 p.m.
Next week, NDSU students will head to the polls and exercise their right to vote right here on campus. But before you cast your ballot next week, get to know student body presidential candidate Cole Nichols. I sat down with the candidate to hear his platform and his plans. Take a look.
If you didn't know, and my running mate is Ivan Wagner. We're both student senators in student government right now, and we decided to run because there are a number of factors why we decided to run. We saw that campus was continually becoming disconnected in a lot of ways. We saw where there's dysfunction on campus in terms of the way organizations operate. We saw issues that came about through our experience in student government. We thought that our skill set would be beneficial for the university.
So you talk a lot about cultivation and connectivity. Can you expand on your points there in that particular section of your platform?
Sure. So there are a couple things. Like we mentioned we want to cultivate relationships with student organizations, between student government. We want to cultivate technology on campus, and we want to cultivate our relationships between students and alumni. So I'd really like to touch on this because I think that we don't really understand how much alumni want to contribute and want to see the impact that they're having on campus. So we'd really like to work with the Alumni Association over at the McGovern Center to cultivate those relationships, to cultivate a platform to make sure that students have relationships with alumni. And this knocks out of other parts of our platform, connecting students with the Fargo community, because these people the alumni that donate tend to want to be involved in students' lives and connect them in other ways to the Fargo community. So helping facilitate those relationships is big for us. But also, like I said, addressing disconnect that student government has with student organizations, because that's part of the reason that most of the reason that student organizations interact with student government, and then also technology on campus, because I know that there are also a lot of issues on campus that technology can be addressed.
Yeah, and so what are some of those technology issues that are on campus that you guys would want to work with?
Sure. So we've heard concerns in the engineering department, particularly about degradation of technology. We've heard that there are sometimes want for more computer banks in certain areas on campus. So we'd like to work with IT. Mark Wallman is the head of IT. We met with him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, to reach out to him and see what kind of concerns are on campus. We look at things that we can do in 1 year, things that we can structurally change. We can make good progress on advising on campus. We can make good progress on technology on campus. We can make good progress on pushing OERs, free in-class resources, so students don't have to buy textbooks for their entry-level classes in certain classes, right? We can make these pushes in 1 year, but also at the same time, we understand that it's a 1-year term and that we want to make as much lasting impact as possible. So laying the groundwork with breaking down barriers for disconnectivity and miscommunication, and trying to ensure that organizations on campus communicate better and function better together, I think is what we understand. Back to NDSU, or at least bring it to a point where we...
The online polls will open up for voting at 8 a.m. next Wednesday, April 3rd, and close on Thursday, April 4th at 5 p.m. Head to www.ndsu.edu/sg to register for voting and cast your ballot.
The NDSU Aquatic Center at the Wellness Center is offering a scuba diving course. The course includes classroom and pool instruction on the basic requirements necessary for dive certification. Partnering with local dive shop Mix Scuba, the course runs from 6 to 10 p.m. every Tuesday for 6 weeks. The class is offered once every fall and spring semester for $310. Students can register on the Wellness Center website or at the customer service desk in the Wellness Center.
I think the fun part is seeing students and faculty and staff utilizing this class. You'll see 10 or 11 participants in the pool area in scuba gear on the bottom of the pool, and that's kind of a unique experience as students can be sitting in the hot tub over in the leisure pool area and they can see scuba divers are in our pool practicing that skill, so it's kind of a fun atmosphere when it happens.
McMaster also recommends you sign up with a friend as there is a lot of partner work in the pool sessions. For those hesitant about joining the course next semester, students can go to the first class session free of charge to try it out. After the break, we will show you some of the most popular scams in the United States.
We'll have that story and the Health Minute when we come back. The NDSU Swing Dance Club will host its weekly event at the Benson Bunker Fieldhouse, teaching people how to swing dance to music from the 1950s. The Swing Dance Club encourages anyone planning to attend to dress up according to the theme. No previous dancing experience is required to participate, and the event will take place from 7 to 10 p.m. and admission is free for students.
Apparent suicides in Parkland, Florida and Newtown, Connecticut are drawing focus to the long-term psychological impacts of trauma. The stigma around suicide can be difficult to navigate, but it begins with communication. Meredith Wood explains in today's Health Minute.
The period after a traumatic loss is marked by a series of cruel questions.
What more could I have done? And why did this happen? And maybe even, why not me?
And while time does help some, it can make others feel worse.
They begin to feel more alone and feel unsupported and feel like they don't have permission to talk about it.
The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline provides a list of warning signs to help identify if a loved one is at risk. Among them, reckless behavior, irregular sleeping, and extreme mood swings. Suicides can also cluster in communities. The solution begins with providing healthier models of behavior.
What we really need to see more of and give more contact for people is our peers who have gone through these situations, essentially who found ways to cope through seemingly the impossible.
Communication and empathy are key to helping people at risk feel less alone.
Any measure of pain is more tolerable if we're sharing it with somebody else.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
If you or someone you know might be at risk of suicide, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255.
The Better Business Bureau has recently released the top 10 scams in the United States of the year 2018. Among the top 10 were romance, income tax extortion, online purchases, employment, and phishing scams. Rounding out the bottom of the list was bank investigator scams. Hundreds of people across the country have lost millions of dollars after being victims of these crimes. If you feel that you have lost money due to one of these scams, please contact authorities.
After the break, Joe Thompson will have our sports update. What do you have for us today, Joe?
Well, we're going to be taking a look back at NDSU's matchup against Duke in the NCAA tournament. We'll also take a look at NCAA wrestling for NDSU as well. We'll also take a look at some women's sports, both in golf and softball, when we come back. Hey, hope you're having a great week so far. Newly developed student organization The Herd hosted a viewing party for NDSU students to watch the men's basketball team's NCAA tournament game against Duke last Friday. The event took place at the Shield Center club level and offered free Deeks pizza while supplies lasted, and had a drawing for other prizes given at halftime. The Herd was impressed by the amount of students who attended the event and invited the students to either join the club or attend more athletic events. Though the Bison were heavy underdogs, at least the students in attendance had a good time supporting the team. Students interested in joining the Herd can contact them through their social media at NDSU_Herd on Twitter and Instagram. After taking down NC Central in their first four matchup in the NCAA tournament, the Bison men's basketball team flew to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the #1 overall seeded Duke Blue Devils. So how would NDSU fare against the class of men's college basketball? Well, for the first half, the Bison kept it fairly close, once leading by as much as 7 points and only being down 4 at halftime. Unfortunately, Duke and Zion Williamson then took over the game in the second half to win by 23 points, thus ending the Bison season. Duke then went on to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat to move on to the Sweet 16 over the University of Central Florida. Speaking of the Sweet 16, after a brief break from action, the NCAA men's basketball tournament is back in action with a handful of games today and tomorrow. Today, the Florida State Seminoles are currently taking on the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and the Purdue Boilermakers are also taking on the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Later on tonight, the Red Raiders of Texas Tech will take on the Michigan Wolverines at 8:39, and the 12th-seeded Oregon Ducks will take on number 1 seed Virginia at 9 p.m. Then on Friday, the LSU Tigers take on Michigan State at 6, followed by Auburn and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Later on that night, the Hokies of Virginia Tech then take on Duke, and then on to round out the Sweet 16, the University of Houston takes on the Kentucky Wildcats. The NDSU wrestling team competed in the Division I Wrestling Championships in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this weekend. Bison season unfortunately came to an end, finishing 36 in the team standings with 6.5 points. The wrestlers that competed in the tournament are Brent Fleetwood, Andrew Fogarty, and Lorenzo De La Riva. Camp Sikora finished the season with a 21-10 record, and Fogarty finished with a record of 22-6. The top teams in the tournament were Penn State, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, University of Iowa, and Michigan. Bison softball pitcher KK Letty earned Summit League Pitcher of the Week honors. This is her second time winning the award this season. Letty earned the award this past week after going 2-0 in her last two starts, while only giving up 1 run and 1 walk and striking out 20 batters. Over the weekend, she posted a .50 earned run average and struck out 12 against Purdue Fort Wayne, her 4th double-digit strikeout performance of the season. This is also Letty's 3rd career Pitcher of the Week award win. NDSU women's golf set a new 54-hole school record on Sunday at the Red Rock Invitational in Cornville, Arizona. The team took a tie for 7th place at the event with a total score of 872. Individually, Maddie Herzog shot a 75 in the final round, finishing in a tie for 5th with a total of 211 for the 3 rounds. She joins Amy Anderson as the only players in NDSU history with a round of 212 or better. The Bison will head to the Wyoming Cowgirl Classic on April 8th to the 9th as the final tune-up for them before the Summit League Championship. Now guys, the MLB season's opening day began today. If you want to know what Isaac and I think about each team, you can go on our YouTube channel to check out our latest episode of X's and O's.
Thanks, Joe. After the break, we'll have this week's Bison on the Street, as well as a chat with aliens.
Global Shapers Fargo Hub is organizing a Chit Chat with Aliens event. Chit Chat with Aliens is a student-led event at North Dakota State University organized by NDSU International Students and Study Abroad Services.
The event is facilitated by Global Shapers Fargo Hub, a diverse collection of young leaders who are from 20 to 30 years old. Rakib Hassan, a doctoral student in the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, tells us more.
Fortunately, we do not have the video for that story, so we'll just move right along.
April Fool's Day is just around the corner, and we hope you're getting your pranks ready. I know we are.
Bison Information Network reporter Joe Thompson went and asked students about their memorable pranks in this week's Bison on the Street.
They put a giant tarp over the school that read "For Sale," and they listed the number to call as a former student who was graduating from college at the time. So the student the student kept getting calls from people who wanted to buy the school while I was expecting calls from job interviews. And it was kind of a good prank because it got 2 people for the price of one. Got the school and it got the old senior band director.
One time I heard of a prank where the seniors at high school broke into all the freshmen's lockers while they were at recess, and they put them all on they got their clothes, taped it all to pigs and labeled the pigs 1, 2, and 4. So they found 1, 2, and 4, but then everyone spent the rest of the day trying to find number 3.
My brother at school once took apart the trampoline and reassembled it in the cafeteria in the middle of the night.
Put Vaseline on all of the doors of the teachers' cars that were all in the parking lot.
Thanks for watching this edition of Bison Information Network News.
Be sure to check us out on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel for more Bison news.
And catch us back here Monday night for a special newscast.
Have a great night, everyone.